Ryoichi Mita, more widely known by his Islamic name Umar Mita, was a seminal figure in the history of Islam in Japan. Born in a country where Islam was barely known and rarely understood, Umar Mita's spiritual transformation and his lifelong devotion to spreading knowledge about Islam is a testament to the depth of human faith, cross-cultural engagement, and intellectual legacy. His most remarkable contribution, the first complete translation of the Qur'an into Japanese by a native Muslim, solidified his place as a cornerstone in the development of Islamic thought in Japan. This essay explores Mita's life, his journey to Islam, his scholarly contributions, and the enduring impact of his work on the Muslim community in Japan and beyond. Ryoichi Mita was born in 1892 in Yamaguchi Prefecture, Japan. Coming of age during the tumultuous years of Japan's rapid modernization following the Meiji Restoration, Mita witnessed firsthand a society that was becoming increasingly open to Western ideas, while also seeking new sources of identity and direction. Like many Japanese intellectuals of his time, Mita was exposed to a wide range of philosophical and religious ideologies, including Christianity, Buddhism, and Confucianism. Initially, he pursued a secular path. Mita was interested in languages, history, and literature, which eventually led him to become a journalist and a translator. It was during this early phase of his life that his curiosity about foreign cultures began to deepen. However, it would not be until his encounters in China and his involvement in Japanese military and political affairs that his exposure to Islam began to take a meaningful shape. Mita's pivotal exposure to Islam occurred during his assignments in China, where he lived and worked during the 1930s and 1940s. He had traveled there as part of Japan's efforts to extend its political influence in East Asia. China, especially regions like Xinjiang and Yunnan, had a significant Muslim population. It was here that Mita first encountered Islamic practices and began to take a personal interest in the religion. Though he was initially skeptical, he found himself increasingly drawn to the spiritual discipline and ethical clarity of Islam. The devout nature of Chinese Muslims, their emphasis on community, and the monotheistic purity of their worship intrigued him. Unlike other religious traditions he had studied, Islam presented itself to him not just as a religion, but as a complete way of life, one that bridged faith with everyday action. After years of study and reflection, Mita formally embraced Islam in 1941. He adopted the name Umar Mita in honor of the second Caliph of Islam, Umar ibn al-Khattab, R.A., known for his justice and integrity. His conversion marked the beginning of a lifelong dedication to the study, teaching, and dissemination of Islam in Japan. Following the end of World War II, Umar Mita returned to Japan, now a defeated and disoriented nation. The war had left its mark on every aspect of Japanese society. The spiritual void felt by many in the post-war era gave Mita a renewed sense of purpose. He believed that Islam could offer not only spiritual guidance, but also moral and ethical foundations that Japan sorely needed in the aftermath of its imperialist ambitions and catastrophic defeat. In a country with virtually no understanding of Islam, Mita set about the daunting task of translating its core texts and teachings into Japanese. He became involved with the Japan Muslim Association and worked with foreign scholars and diplomats from Muslim countries to establish a basic infrastructure for Islamic education and interfaith dialogue in Japan. Umar Mita's greatest and most enduring scholarly contribution is undoubtedly his translation of the Qur'an into Japanese. Though earlier translations existed, they were primarily undertaken by non-Muslim scholars, often with Orientalist or Christian theological biases. These earlier works tended to misrepresent Islamic theology or reflect condescending attitudes towards the religion. Mita, as a believing Muslim, sought to rectify this by presenting an authentic, respectful, and spiritually resonant translation for Japanese readers. His translation, completed and published in 1972, took over a decade of meticulous effort. Mita was deeply concerned with capturing not only the literal meaning of the Quranic verses, but also the majesty and rhythm of the original Arabic. He consulted with Muslim scholars from countries such as Egypt, Pakistan, and Turkey to ensure accuracy. Despite the immense difficulty of translating Arabic Quranic vocabulary and syntax into Japanese, a language structurally and culturally very different, Mita succeeded in producing a text that was both linguistically elegant and theologically faithful. The publication of the Qur'an in Japanese by a Muslim had a profound impact. It became a foundational text for Japanese converts, as well as a vital resource for academics, diplomats, and spiritual seekers. His work made the Qur'an accessible to an entire linguistic population for the first time in a meaningful, unbiased way. One of Umar Mita's most important intellectual missions was to demonstrate that Islam was not alien or incompatible with Japanese culture. In fact, he often emphasized the similarities between Islamic values and traditional Japanese virtues such as discipline, cleanliness, humility, and social responsibility. He believed that Islam's ethical teachings could enrich Japanese society and help people navigate the challenges of modern life. In his lectures and writings, Mita frequently drew comparisons between Islamic principles and the values of Bushido, the samurai code of honor. He argued that both traditions emphasized justice, self-restraint, sincerity, and the defense of truth. He saw no contradiction in being both fully Japanese and fully Muslim. This perspective helped ease the concerns of many Japanese who feared that adopting Islam might mean the loss of their cultural identity. His work thus functioned not only as religious instruction, but also as a bridge between civilizations. In this way, Mita can be seen as a pioneer of interfaith dialogue and cultural synthesis long before these became fashionable concepts in global discourse. Despite his contributions, Umar Mita faced considerable challenges. Islam remained a minority religion in Japan, with only a few thousand adherents during his lifetime. There was limited institutional support, and much of the Japanese public remained indifferent or even suspicious of Islam, particularly in the Cold War context, where Islam was often portrayed through the lens of geopolitical conflict. Nonetheless, Mita remained steadfast. He continued to give lectures, publish articles, and mentor new Muslims. He also maintained strong connections with the global Muslim world, representing Japanese Muslims at international conferences and fostering goodwill between Japan and the broader Ummah. His humility, sincerity, and intellectual rigor earned him respect both at home and abroad. Umar Mita passed away in 1983, but his legacy endures in multiple dimensions. His Quran translation continues to be used by Japanese Muslims and researchers. His writings and lectures laid the groundwork for future generations of Japanese Muslims and helped normalize Islam as part of Japan's diverse religious landscape. Today, Islam is still a minority religion in Japan, but it has grown significantly since Mita's time, particularly through immigration and the global spread of information. The Japanese Muslim community, now including both converts and foreign residents, looks to figures like Mita as pioneers who made it possible to live a balanced, dignified Islamic life in Japan. Mita's life is also increasingly studied in academic circles, exploring the dynamics of religion in East Asia. He is recognized as a symbol of spiritual integrity and intercultural dialogue. His story resonates with themes of search, transformation, and commitment, universal themes that transcend religious and national boundaries. Ryoichi Mita, or Umar Mita, was more than just a translator or religious convert. He was a visionary who foresaw the possibility of a Japanese Islamic synthesis long before such ideas gained traction. His journey from a secular journalist to a devoted Muslim scholar is a remarkable example of intellectual courage and spiritual depth. His translation of the Quran and his efforts to foster understanding between Japanese and Islamic civilizations have left an indelible mark on history. In a world increasingly divided along religious and cultural lines, Mita's life offers a model of coexistence, dialogue, and authenticity. He demonstrated that faith need not be confined by geography or culture, that a Japanese heart could beat with the rhythm of the Quran. Through his work, he opened a door not only to understanding Islam, but also to understanding the universal human quest for truth. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love what's next. We've made several videos on this topic. Click the playlist on your screen to dive into more content. May Allah bless you.